so we're in video installment number 2 of Ursidae's interviews. I'm Jake Igo from Ursidae Cornhole, and if you guys remember from the first interview, we interviewed ACL Pro Ryan Huffey from Sandpoint and got his take on singles and what it took for him to become a pro. And today I'm sitting with an Idaho legend and a future up-and-comer, Steve Samuels and Justin Carpenter. Both guys won yesterday in the ACL Regional here in Post Falls, Idaho. So, and now we can just capitalize and we can talk about that and we can talk about everything. So the beauty about all this is, and why we want to bring this video number 2 into play is to get the aspect of a doubles regimen of being able to figure out what it takes to be a true doubles team and be able to be dominate in, especially the state, and be able to travel and do all that other stuff. So we know you guys are going to Jacksonville here pretty quick, so we'll dive into that stuff too. But just so everybody that's watching will be able to figure it out. So Steve Samuels from Lewiston, Idaho, just give a quick background about yourself.
I've been playing this game about 10 years roughly, but I've only been playing competitively probably 2.5 years. Before that it was like twice, 3 times a year is all. So I don't really consider that, wasn't getting much better. So that's how I got started, just playing in the backyard.
So before we introduce Justin, I guess we can capitalize on that whole conversation. So it seems like cornhole over the last 3 years has really, over the last 2 years we'll say, has really taken off. But how does somebody, especially being from Lewiston, kind of a secluded area, come about figuring out cornhole 10 years ago? I mean, how does it?
Being from Lewiston was kind of a challenge because I played with, I don't know, maybe 6, 8 people. Played a little bit, and it's a total different ball game when you go to tournaments. It's players are completely a lot better. Had an ad in the Facebook that somebody was looking for a cornhole partner in Spokane, and I just got done playing in a tournament down in Lewiston and got beat up pretty. Actually got 3rd, but I lost to 2 teams from Walla Walla that had been playing. They played competitively, and right then and there I knew I was hooked. I said, I'm going to get better and come back and beat these boys, but they're really good guys. I learned a lot from them.
Nice. So yeah, moving on. So like I said, for the people that don't know, Steve is kind of the legend of Idaho, as I like to call him, because the guy travels all throughout Idaho and competes in singles and doubles with different people and stuff. So I mean, you definitely have the experience over pretty much everybody that you're playing for the most part right now.
Yeah, I traveled a lot. My first like 6 months, I kept track of my mileage, and I could have drove to New York and back twice. That was just for league and tournaments, going to Spokane and Sandpoint.
Very nice. So then, for the people that are watching outside of Idaho, the people that don't know, Justin Carpenter is actually the reason why we have cornhole in Post Falls, or we'll say North Idaho, outside of Sandpoint. It was a year and a half, 2 years ago, we started the Filling Station League.
Yeah.
And that's how I've heard it through Chris and Rosie, and I was like, I know I like to play in the backyard, and I didn't know there was a competitive aspect of it. And I remember showing up one day at the filming station on the summer day to play, and I was hooked from there. But I mean, you're the reason why we have this here. But yeah, just give us kind of your background of how that all started out and what made you want to do that and where you are now. I mean,
I started it, well, my wife's cousin came into town from Arizona and we were playing in the backyard. We had these boards, they weren't even the right size and they were falling apart, we were just throwing, and I was like, this would be fun to start a league at the filling station. And started, I can't remember how many teams we got the first league, but I think it was like 8 or 9 teams. It's pretty small. And I just grew from there, just kept playing, and started with the Amazon special bags, Amazon Prime, and then we went from there and got all kinds of different bags, and league grew. Every league we did just kept growing and growing. So.
But as far as you as a player, I mean,
As a player,
just as, because like I said, you're 2 years into the game, competitive, not even a year and a half.
year and a half,
game,
yeah.
Competitively, and you've jumped to this status of playing competitive to where you are now, really at the top of your game, especially in North Idaho.
I just played a lot. I mean, I had it at work, so I just, whenever it's slow at work, I just play. For a while, I was playing 2-3 hours a day, so not anymore, but I used to.
Well, especially with like especially you have a new family, everything else. So how does that all play into what you're trying to accomplish down the road?
Well, I take Phil Hottenstein's trainer boards, put them in the living room. I actually knocked out my hallway closet so I could have some extra space.
Nice.
And when Grayson's napping, I just throw. Sometimes I throw when he's awake, but he grabs the boards off the bag and throws them in. So.
Yeah. Well, this is especially a big thing for all the beginners that are watching this. Is we're literally a year and a half into this. Justin and me pretty much started at the same time. A year and a half into this, and being able to see a guy that's at this level, being able to break onto the pro stage, hopefully here soon, is just incredible. But I mean, that's what it takes. Is just this drive to be able to go out there and want to play and want to practice and do everything else. Which leads me to my next question of. We're looking at a double steam here that you guys live in a totally different area. We're 2.5 hours apart. But I want to kind of break down practice regimens for both people. Steve, you have nobody to play against down there. So, I mean, what is your weekly deal? Are you playing 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 1 time a week?
It varies. This time of year, it might be only once a week, but if I got good weather, I'll practice every day if I can. For anywhere from half an hour to an hour roughly. And I used to just go out and just throw, but now I have more of a routine what I try to accomplish for. I'll try to block and then push, block, push, just do that over and over and over again from both sides too.
So, sorry to interrupt, but are you trying to do the 4 bags and then you switch off sides and then almost play against yourself?
Yeah, I'll go back and forth. I usually don't set up one board and I put a tape measure out, and so I'll have 2 boards to just. But yeah, I'll do four bags. Actually, I'll do 8 bags, and I'll throw each one from each side. Push, then airmail over the block bag, hopefully. I tried to get it. Actually, a block bag is, I used to think of it as a block, but now I think of it more of a mist. I'm just short of going in the hole. It just makes it easier when you're aiming at the hole, and you just throw it a little softer, and it'll come up short. When you start thinking about blocking, it seems like you start pushing to the left or pushing to the right, and it's just way easier for me to. If I miss, it's going in the hole, so that's not a bad thing. That was my goal for. But that's all I work on is that, and I'll throw airmails for half an hour straight. That's all I'll do. I'll get a 5-gallon bucket, fill up all my bags, and just throw airmails.
Nice. So as far as you being down in Lewiston and not being able to play against competition, I mean, how difficult is it for you to come up here and automatically jump into a regional with Justin and start playing against? I mean, you guys played us this first time, yesterday, and I mean, you were just on point right away. I mean, does the competition not affect you, or is it just you're just in that mindset of you already have this muscle memory down of what you're going to do?
I think I've played enough games now against some really good competition. It's helped my nerves. That makes a big difference. A lot of the new guys, that's the hardest part to get over is your nerves. And it's just like I said, it's just going to all these tournaments. I go everywhere, try to play the best players I can. Go to Boise, Seattle, wherever I have to go to play. So but that's how I deal with the nerves. And it's as far as like sometimes you don't have it when you get there. Sometimes you do. And yesterday, it's a pretty good day for me. Obviously.
Sure.
And when you're playing with partners, it's a different game than singles too. When you got a good partner, it makes a big difference. You don't have to feel like you need to do too much. You can just play your game, and you're confident your partner can do the same thing. So you kind of feed off each other that way.
Sure.
So I think that's, since I've been partners with Justin, we've done pretty well.
No, you guys have definitely been a dominant force. I mean, especially moving forward. So same question to you, Justin. I mean, you own a bar where you have cornhole boards set up. I mean, are you playing every day of the week? I mean, I know you guys have tournaments, or you guys have your Monday night league, and then you're going up to Sandpoint Tuesday nights. I mean, but outside of that, I mean, how often are you practicing?
I probably play 4 or 5 days a week. I take Wednesdays and Sundays off for family day, and then Tuesdays I usually work while the lower bracket plays. I'll throw with them after they finish if they finish early, but I don't know, 4 or 5 days a week on average.
Same thing. But when you're out there practicing, what's your, like, do you have a regimen of, this is what I want to do today? I mean, are you practicing air miles? Are you practicing what Steve was saying, blocks? Are you?
Yeah, I'll try to block and push, block air mail over, then push. I'll do some deck rounds just to see where I'm at. That's just sliding on a hole though, so I mean anybody can do that. I like to set up some bags in front and try to do some bully bags or something like that. Yeah, kind of scenarios where I'll see in a real game that'll help me in the gameplay.
Nice. So, but like what you were just talking about of trying to throw bully bags. So, are you doing the same thing as Steve, as far as throwing 8 bags or throwing 4 on each side?
I will sometimes. It depends on how much exercise I want to get.
Jeez, this game is so physically demanding.
It is. Yeah, it's brutal.
No, but that brings me, I guess, to my next question. I mean, this is a big thing, especially with kind of the hellfire that we're in as far as the amount of bags that are coming out. And I know that everybody here is kind of a bag of war as far as wanting to buy the next latest and the greatest. And it seems like everybody's kind of jumped around. But we'll start with Justin on this one, because Justin has adopted these Lucky Bag Surefires.
Oh.
Like I said, it seemed like fantastic bags, but I mean, is this your bag going into the future? And then how do you go from Amazon bags to these?
Well, I went from Amazon to slide rights. I think everybody pretty much starts with slide rights. I mean, maybe not now because there's so many bags out, but then I went game changers for a little bit. Got these orange Vipers that I couldn't let go for a while. And then I discovered Lucky Bags Pro Snipers. They got a little too fast as they broke in. I realized I play a lot better if I'm throwing low and hard. And they came with the Surefires, and I called it a bag crisis the last couple months. I couldn't find a bag that I wanted to throw because the Pro Snipers are great, but they're too fast. And these, I say, put me out of my bag crisis. I love the Surefires. They're perfect speed for me.
But I mean, what makes them the perfect bag for you as far as slow side, fast side?
They're like a 4.7, I think. It's a perfect slow side to put up a block, and then I can throw a little bit harder to push and replace it, or I can flip it over to the slick side and push them all in.
So is this a kind of bag that, I don't know if you're into the whole roll flop craze right now, but is that a bag that you'd be able to do that with?
No, Steve can, but I can't roll the cut shot's pretty fun. I can get it every once in a while, but they're pretty floppy, so they collapse when they land, and it's pretty tough to do it for me. The Vikings are what I'm working on the roll shot with, and they roll pretty dang easily.
So Steve, same question. So once again, you started 10 years ago. I don't even know what you played. You just played with a piece of cloth and some corn.
It was, actually, I never even had my own equipment. It was somebody else's. And they were just, they were a college, it's Boise State's college, bean bags. And they're filled with corn. They get wet and they blow up. But my first league, I played with eBay bags. They were a slick size, and we ended up getting third with them. So then moved on to slide rights and just tried a lot of different bags. Game Changers were my favorite bag, but I like the Surefire, so it's probably my new bag.
So on the doubles aspect of it, though, I mean, you and Justin definitely have different throwing styles for sure. Justin's, like I said, you just said low and hard, where you have more of that arcing shot, but you're really aggressive on the same aspect. But how do you guys come about of agreeing on a bag pre-Surefires?
Yeah, well,
We didn't.
that's the biggest challenge with partners is bag selection, and that's why I've got so many different kinds of bags. I practice with them all the time, every day. But when I practice with probably 10 different bags.
Is that the communication that you guys have back and forth? Is you guys know you have a tournament coming up, and Justin calls you or texts you and says, "Hey, I'm really feeling these Vipers because I know that's what you were really hot on for a long time," and you're having to call him or text him back and say, "Hey, no, this ain't working."
No, because I practice with Vipers, I practice with Widows, I practice with PAs, I practice with a lot of different bags, and I figure out how to throw them so I can bat pretty fast.
He just says, "What's the bag of the week?"
And so it's like, that's the way it's been for all my partners. Some like these bags, some like sticky bags, some like fast bags, so I can adapt pretty fast to whatever my partner likes.
But it seems like you guys are going to be a team going forward, especially going into Jacksonville, going into the first ACL Open event that's actually going to happen. Cross your fingers. But I mean, is it based on Justin? Is it based on how your partner is going to throw? Because like I said, you just said low, and you're going to throw low and fast regardless. But then you have to compensate for Steve. And even when you and I played in Boise a year ago, I mean, it's a huge compensation to be able to try to figure out how your partner's going to throw these bags. And I mean, what's the thought process going in? I mean, is it based on what your partner's going to do, how well you're throwing? I mean, if you can take us through the scenario.
It would be the conditions of the board is what most likely we'll play the Surefires because they got a stick side and a slick side. So if it's high humidity, we can flip the bag over and we'll slide just fine. So I'm guessing we'll probably play those bags. So I like them.
We've thrown them well.
And I actually like it hard. I throw them hard too. So I've kind of converted over to that.
First bag we've agreed on, which is great.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I guess the big question is, since you just brought the humidity thing, have you ever played in Florida? And, you know, Justin, you said yesterday you played for this EC event in North Carolina, and that was just a couple weeks ago. So
now it's for a wedding. It wasn't even for
So
Cornhole.
I mean, that's what I'm saying is now you guys are going down to this high humidity place. It's going to be hot. Even indoors, it's going to be hot, humid. I mean, are you guys going to bring different bags? I mean, what's going to be the scenario that you guys are going to go into this thing with?
I'll probably bring pro snipers and Surefires, and then I don't know what else after that, but maybe my Vikings just in case. But I'm pretty pumped for a slower board. I can really attack that way, and
It's going to be
I feel like I can attack with a slow board and throw as hard as I want, which is gonna be awesome. But yeah, I heard the boards will be slower for sure.
Yeah, and that's always the biggest thing. I mean, but you have Matthew Sorrell, who's from Florida, and that's his bag now. I mean, he's a lucky bag guy.
Trey Birchfield throws them.
Yeah, so I mean, there has to be something there that is allowing these bags to be able to be predominant especially down south.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, are you guys planning on getting there early? Are they going to let you guys throw early to be able to figure out board conditions throughout the day, or is it you're just going to jump right into the tournament and try to figure it out? Because they're doing the rounders format.
Yeah, rounders first.
Actually, we'll do crew cup.
Oh yeah,
instinct.
crew cup first.
Crew cup
Yeah.
first will be first. Well, actually, I'll play before that because I'm playing the seniors division first, so I get to play
Me too.
that. Because I am old. I feel like I'm old. Well, I don't feel like I'm old, but I know I'm old because my kids are older than my partner. So.
Well, I guess we can talk about that too. I mean, how does this thing come about as far as you guys becoming partners? Because there's such a big age difference. I mean, that's pretty big. I mean, for you to be able to accept this podcast kid over here that says, "Hey, I'm just going to go out there and throw low and hard," and then you have to sit there and adapt to them compared to anybody else that you want to play with. I mean, how does this connection come about? I mean, the chemistry and everything else.
I don't know. I think it's more of just the drive we both have for the game is probably what brought us together.
Sure.
I see how good he's got, how fast. A lot faster than me, but we both got a drive that I think matches pretty well.
I think the chemistry will come the more we play together too.
Oh, without a doubt. But I mean, how does Justin, as far as like, how do you approach Steve and say, "Hey, we should probably partner up"? I mean, that to me is always the toughest part, especially.
It's like asking a girl to prom.
Yeah, I have to send him a bouquet of roses. But no, for everybody that's watching right now, that's always the biggest thing, especially for me, because I don't know. I know that I play in advance. I'm not an advanced player, but trying to find that partner that best suits what you want to do. And for you guys to team up, I mean, that was huge. I mean, you guys have proved it. I mean, you guys have won all these tournaments here recently, and you guys are going to keep going forward. But I mean, it's just it's a bond now that's, I don't know, how does this, you guys just trust each other, I guess, that much to be able to work this thing out. And I don't know how that kind of comes about. And like I said, I'm just trying to word this question to be able to, for the people that are watching, to be able to have the confidence to ask people to play. And
I don't know how we became partners, really. We talked at the last tournament at Skate Line, but that's about all. I mean, just kind of went from there.
Yeah, I've never had a partner that traveled as much as me. My main partner, he could travel to most of the tournaments I went to, because most of them were, he could make it to Sandpoint tournament, that was it. Or maybe he could make it to Spokane, but usually nothing Boise or Longview. Like any of the national tournaments he couldn't go to, so I just had different partners everywhere. It was easy for me to ask people to be my partner, I guess. I mean, so
nice. I just looked at my note card and we got way off subject on this, but one common concern that I had from a lot of people, especially coming off the Addicted to Cornhole site, was because we were talking about bags earlier and then we got way off track. But so for people that want to start, people that are just starting, what's the progression, or what would you recommend to them for bags to throw right now, especially what's out and available right now? I mean, you have people spending $300 on a set of bags right now, but if you're just wanting to start out, what's the key bag to go to right now?
My recommendation would be Game Changers, but that's just because I like them. And the biggest reason why I say that is they're probably the most forgiving bag out there. You can throw them sideways, basically, and they'll hit the board and flatten out. As long as you can throw the bag straight with a little spin, that's a winning combination right there. A lot of bags, if you throw them sideways or a little bit of tumble, they'll kick to the right, kick to the left. And so that would be my bag, but you just have to join a league and everybody play and try everybody's different bags, and that's be the best way to go instead of buying them.
Sure.
Because it gets expensive really fast, especially if you're buying them online. I've never personally paid more money than what you can buy them from the company. That's the only place I've ever bought bags.
Wish I could say the same.
And you've waited your whole life to this point, so what's another month, 2 months? I would wait.
It's the generation that we live in. Got to have it now.
Yeah.
So what about you, Justin? What's your recommendation for somebody? You probably get this question more often than not, especially because you run that lower bracket. What do you tell people?
I'd say a good starter bag is a Kill Shot 357 or a Cornhole Circuit. They got the medium stick side and fast slick side that everybody needs, and unless you want to go fast on both sides, but it's controllable on the slow side, and then if you need to push, you can flip it over.
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
Yeah, they're not as hole friendly as Game Changers, the 357s, but Circuits are pretty hole friendly. They'll go in pretty easily.
Yeah, if only they were still improved.
We'll get to that later.
So the biggest thing, especially in doubles, because you watch ESPN and then you show up to these regional tournaments, is the communication between doubles partners. And I kind of wanted to dive into that a little bit. Sorry, I'm going to have a coughing attack here in a second. But as far as like how much communication do you guys have talking back and forth between each other? Games on the line, you guys are blowing somebody out. We'll break it down here in a second, but I just want to know the communication. So say it's a 15-15 game. How much communication are you guys telling each other where to throw the bag and how to get to a point?
Quite a bit actually, especially if there's a lot of bags around the hole, and sometimes it's hard to see it from clear over here. But as far as like whether you should push through or hit a gap, things like that.
Usually on the same page.
But yeah, we communicate a lot. I usually do when it's a tight game.
Yeah.
We get two timeouts. One timeout.
One timeout in doubles.
One timeout in doubles. So you kind of gotta wait till the end of the game to use that timeout.
All right, so we're talking about communication amongst doubles partners, but this is where I want to kind of bring in the sports scenario thing of kind of what you guys talk about and all this stuff. And we kind of worked all this stuff out earlier. So say the team you're playing against is throwing these pro snipers, and Steve throws up a nice block there, and then this guy comes in between and kind of sticks one right there. At this point, what do you guys want to talk about as far as like what's your next bag? So you still have 3 bags to go. Your partner, the guy you're playing against, has 2. What's the scenario right here?
I think it depends on the score a lot, the score of the game at the time, but...
Okay, well, in all these scenarios, because this is probably an standpoint is trying to discuss the board scenarios, but we'll go every scenario, you're tied up 10-10.
Okay. My partner's good airmailer, so I'd tell him to airmail that one.
Airmail, all right. I have, I can throw it hard enough to...
Yeah, you can get it to flop over.
I can get it to flop over that too,
Yeah.
so I'll throw an aim and try to hit,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
and try to land right here somewhere, and I can get it to flip over and roll into the hole.
Here, I'll take that back. Okay, so say in that same scenario, so say you just did that and you flopped up, came up short, and now this guy has come in right behind you again. You obviously have all that hole open. Is it just a for sure airmail?
Yeah, it's going to be an airmail. show from there for sure.
Okay, so one other, we'll keep going through this stuff. So, always my favorite one. So that guy has that leg like that.
Don't do that.
Yep.
Yep.
And then you've pushed right behind him. Same thing. Scores 10-10. I mean, Justin, you're a powerful thrower. Are you gonna? Oops, he should have a bag out here too. Say he missed. So he's sitting like that. Okay, so it's your turn to throw. Scores tied 10-10. I mean, what do you want to do?
I got 3 bags left.
You got 3 bags left.
I'd probably try to push through all that, maybe leave my bag in my hand as a block. So push these 2 in, but then maybe my bag sits right there.
So
that I threw.
with Steve on the other side, is he? I mean, this is the communication that I wanted to get through. Is so you have this scenario right here. Are you talking to him saying, "Hey, he's got a bag that's halfway in, a bag that's a quarter of the way in," or are you just gonna shoot it regardless?
I mean, yeah, if I can't see it, then I'd ask.
Yeah, most likely, I'm confident he knows what he needs to do here. But I would say, yeah, push. I'd tell him push through. If not, push all 3 bags in. Push those 2 in plus the one he's throwing. Or, like you said, try to leave out the one you throw. But that's difficult to do when you're trying to push 2 bags. It's easier with 1 bag. When you're trying to push 2, you gotta throw pretty hard to take.
So especially with the experience that I've had with pro snipers, they're really hard to push. But I mean, I haven't thrown the surefires enough. This is an easier bag to push through stuff.
No, if
I'd
it's
say pro cybers are easier to push.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
the sticky side of the surefires are hard to push.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, so same. We'll just keep breaking down this whole throw thing. So you come through, you push him in, you push yourself in, you leave that one there.
That's ideal.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation.
Yeah.
Say this guy's really good, he just airmailed one in, so you still have 2 bags. I mean, now what? So I don't know if the camera can see it, but so now this guy is still hanging in the hole. You're a little bit in the hole. I mean, are you still going to try to push because you're kind of pinched there?
I'd push for sure.
Still trying to push.
At the end of the day, if we get 4 bags in the hole, it's tough to score on us.
But yeah, I mean, well, you just saw it kind of with that, but it kind of fell in. But I was hoping.
Yeah,
for
that's
the,
gonna go. I think
the clog situation. Of
I think that'd go regardless.
yeah, especially with these bags.
Yeah. So it's a 12-12 wash probably.
Yeah. But okay, let's break it down some more. I mean, is there? Like I said, I'm just trying to get to everybody like different stuff. Okay, this is always my favorite one right here. Okay, so this guy's got the lead. He just came up short right there. I always hate those bags, but he laid it up short. You came around the side, tried to hook one in, didn't work, and now this guy has laid up perfectly right there. So now what? Now you still have 3 bags to go. I mean, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to try to wash out here and try to put one right here in an airmail? What do you want to do?
It all depends on what side of the board we're on, but
Yeah.
if we were on that side of the board, then I would say either push through or block that bag. Because it's going to be pretty difficult if he's playing on this side of the board. He's blocking himself that bottom bag.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that back to stop right there.
Yeah,
He's
he'd
an awesome
he'd almost have to be on that side of the board to have that
He's
situation come up. Because as hard as you got to throw it to clear that bag, it's either going to go in the hole or it's going to kick off to one side or the other. It'd be really difficult to put that bag right there in that position if they were on this side of the board.
Okay, so
Yeah, he's really good.
he's awesome. But okay, so we'll say you push him in like that, and then he comes back at you. He sinks it. And what do you ever look at a point? We'll move that down just a little bit. Is there ever a point where you want to try to get this bag to go in?
Always.
But okay, so we can talk about that. I mean, like what? That's one thing I've always struggled with is being able to try to figure that out. Is how do you get this bag to go in, especially if you're throwing on the opposite. So say you're on the opposite
We're
side.
on this side, right?
Yeah. So I mean, what's the easiest way to try to get this bag? And I watched you do it a couple times yesterday, but I mean, just for the beginners out there, trying to get the bag on the opposite side to go in the hole.
We got to step out and then you can't throw slick side because it'll bounce off and then go this way. You gotta throw stick side hard and kind of hit right here, and they'll both go if you're out far enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you only can step out so far,
But going to that same thing, do you ever change your grip as far as what you're going to try to throw? The one thing I credit Steve to is being this methodical player of really being thoughtful about every shot you take. I mean, you're not sitting there trying to rush every bag. I mean, you definitely think about what your next throw is going to be. I mean, do you change your grip at all, Steve? Or?
I do. Most of the time it's like, well, I practice the different grips, but I don't have one grip I use for, well, actually I'll probably, I'll grab onto it more. I usually like it pretty loose. I'll hold it. I don't know anybody that holds as loose as I do when I throw, but my normal throw is like that, but when I'm trying to throw harder, I'll put more beads down in my palm. But that comes with just trying it, practicing it way before you ever come to tournament.
But same question. So back to Justin on this one. So you step out, and are you coming in this bag low, or are you going to try to hit it high and then take it in? I mean, what's the? Because like I said, you have that very fluent motion of where your trajectory is really low. So
I'm probably gonna throw low, but I think a high bag would work pretty well with that because you can land it right on it and it can right in it. But I don't know. I would probably throw it just my normal low throw. Yeah. I could see both working though for sure. If you can throw it high and land on it and take it in, it'd work.
Yeah, that's always the toughest bag, especially for me to try to sit there. Especially when you have the scenario that you're in. I mean, right now you're down 7-5. I mean,
yeah, you miss that off the board, you're screwed.
Yeah, so that's the key is like here, I'll take that back. So you have, okay, so we can talk about that. I mean, is it now that you have two bags compared to this one? Are you going to sit there and try to drag that in, or are you going to throw one more to see what you can do? In the off chance that you push that out of the way, or are you trying to take it right now?
I try to grab it. I try to push it closer each time. If I miss it, then at least I got it closer to going in. A lot of the times, if I miss it, it'll go right here, and it can spin it back in a little bit.
Nice.
And then at that point, I can airmail drag it.
Yeah, you should always.
Because you're inching it closer every time.
Your next bag, you should actually try to go for it, because if you don't, they're gonna try to blow you that bag out of the way.
Right.
And then it's not gonna be there for you the next, your next throw.
Yeah.
So I think you should always attempt to do it. If your shot, to go for it then instead of waiting.
If it's out here though, I'm not gonna mess with this.
Yeah.
Lost bag.
Well, same. Okay, so now you said that, we can break it down. So you say you missed short there, and now he just put his next bag there. So now you still have, well, you lost a bag. Say that one. So now you have this scenario here. I mean, you have one bag left. He's got his 8 points on the board. You have your 7. I mean, are you going to try to airmail, or do you even want to mess with this bag?
I think that's an airmail.
All day long?
Yeah, if the miss, they get 1 point.
Yeah.
Hit it, we get 2. I wouldn't try to push that because it's not going to go through that bag.
It'd be tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can break it back real quick, and then we'll get at board scenarios. So this is one I always like here. So you throw your first block up. These in the corner here. So you throw your first block up. It came up a little short. He came in from the side, kind of bullied you out. So, are you guys talking to each other on this point of saying, hey, he's got a quarter of his bag in, he kind of pushed you out, or is it just going to be, you're just going to shoot it and try to hope that you're going to come in, same thing, take that step out and try to push that bag in and leave that other one?
For me, it determines a lot on the score of the game at that point.
We're saying 10-10.
What, if it's middle, I mean, if nobody's close to winning yet, then I would probably try to push my bag in and leave my bag I'm throwing stop it right there where that bag's at.
And just
Try
replace it.
just to replace it. That's what I would try to do.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't think we'd really talk about that one too much. We'd
No.
probably just throw it. I mean, that's a pretty simple scenario. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah,
If you're on this side, you're stepping out a little bit, and
that just comes with experience.
Yeah.
After you play so many games, you kind of, you know what to do.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's,
But look, for somebody starting out,
Yeah.
they're not even thinking about pushing. Most likely, they're
yeah.
thinking about how can I just get it in the hole. Is what that's how I remember how I was when I was like just I wouldn't definitely not think about replacing it. Mine would be just push through, try to score both bags.
nice. And I think we've covered that pretty well. My big thing is, just trying to get the education out there.
Yeah,
as
for
far
sure.
as what people want to do, and like I said, what goes through your guys' heads, because I'm the shooter that's just going to go out there and try to shoot and try to, like what you're saying, just make it in the hole. But like I said, that's why you guys are so far above me. So, but I guess we can break all this into my next question of like. I know, like I said it before, you're a methodical player. Like, how much thought do you sit there? Like, what's actually going through your head all the time? I mean, you sit there and you hold the bag for a while. I mean, what are you thinking about? What do you want to do? I mean, are you sitting there thinking about different hand placements on the bag? I mean, what's going through your head?
No, more of my options. What I should do. It's airmail it, push it, push both in, replace bag. That's basically what I'm thinking about when taking my time to determine that. As far as the hand, that all just comes natural after time. I think how you grip the bag.
So, same thing to Justin, because you're a pretty fast player, and like I said, you can push, and it seems like you don't even care whose bag is on the board. You're going to sit there and try to push yours around to where you want it. I mean, how much thought do you, I mean, it seems like you're just coming out hot every time, but your brain must be processing what you want to do that much quicker. And especially in a doubles aspect of how often do you wait to see what Steve says? I mean, in a different situation.
I'll wait if there's not like a clear decision to be made. Like a couple times yesterday, I had to ask him, what should I do here? And just wait till he gives me an answer and go for it.
Nice.
I don't take too much time. Every once in a while I'll slow down, but not a whole lot. Usually fire away.
But that's always a fun question to ask, and I know I asked it for Ryan too, but I mean, how often do you guys get, and Steve, you're different, but the pace of the player next to you, as far as if they're going fast and you want to try to, like, it's hard to sit there and try to think about how you're going to break their rhythm, but I mean, does that ever get in your head?
There's some people I'll slow down. If they're throwing super fast, I'll sit there for a minute and slow them down.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that if you got, because there is players out there that it seems like they're throwing the bag before
Yeah,
your bag
your
even
bag
lands.
even hits the floor. So it's like, well, I'll slow it down even more then.
yeah.
Yeah, you play those little games if you have to, but
Yeah.
most of the time you don't.
But on the same token, does it bother you when somebody takes their time? Does it get into your head when they're sitting there adjusting to what they want to do? I guess it's like in baseball, the quick pitch. I mean, a pitcher that's going to sit there and try to throw fastballs, consistently and just hammer them. And then that guy that always wants to step out for 30 seconds and adjust his gloves and just to try to slow him down. But I mean, they're trying to get in their rhythm and they're trying to slow you down on whatever you're like, especially if you're in rhythm. I mean, does that screw you guys up at all?
It doesn't me
I
personally.
wouldn't say so.
What they do on that side of the board is it doesn't bother me a bit. I mean, you got people flip bags. None of that stuff bothers me anymore. I should say. I guess. I've learned that it's like you got no control over that, so it's like you control what you control, and that's just not let it bug you. If it bugs you, then it's kind of take away from your game. So
Yeah, just worry about yourself, your own game.
Yeah. So I know you guys have pretty much gauged the competition here in Idaho, but going through now to Jacksonville, where you're going to be on a national stage. I mean, how do you guys decide who throws inside and who throws outside? And then is there any research that's going to come up of, or do you do by matchup, we'll say, like, I think I can beat him based on what I know, or is it just you guys are going to throw inside and outside?
We both can throw from either side, so I think it really doesn't matter as far as like matchups go like that. It's you just have to beat the player you're playing against. So we really haven't really talked about it too much, but so that's my feeling on it anyway. Is there is people that like to throw on one side only, so.
During my back crisis that I was talking about, I would run to the inside arm, and I got it figured out now. I'm good. We don't talk about that anymore. We just whatever side, and we're interchangeable, so we don't feel like either one of us are better than the other. So it doesn't matter on matchups either, in my opinion. So we just go play. Like yesterday, we threw the same side of the board all day just to keep the same thing, but I don't know, we didn't need to. We could have switched.
I mean,
And sometimes one of us will be hotter than the
Yeah.
other, so it's like,
Yeah.
maybe I should match up against them, or
Yeah.
well, that happens, but that's more of just how you're playing at that moment. It's not thought out before we ever get to a tournament or.
so I guess that's a really good question to ask. Would you guys rather play singles first or doubles first?
I like doubles first, just for the simple reason gives me a chance to warm up for singles. That's just my personal opinion.
Are you the same, Justin, or?
I don't have a preference. I mean, I don't care either way.
It just seems like
As long as I have a few beers in me.
that's always the tough one. But I mean, as far as like, I guess, what do you guys care about more? I mean, doubles is going to pay out more than singles, right?
We gotta split it with this
Yeah.
guy.
It's pretty much the same payout.
So yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter too much. I've always been, I want to do singles because I care more about doubles than anything, but it's who I am. But I've always wondered that, like, what do people want to do first? I guess the first thing you want to do is probably a blind draw. That way it doesn't really matter that first go around.
Yeah, blind draw would be good to warm up.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I think we did that. No, we did conferences in the middle. I think
Yeah.
blind draws in the middle.
Well, for the next time, there we go.
Yeah.
Blind draws first.
Works for me.
So with the whole growth of everything that's been going on, especially here specifically in Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene, I mean, where do we want to take this game? Or I mean, you guys is like the top doubles team, and Justin coming up, going to be a huge singles player. I mean, you guys are huge ambassadors of the sport. I mean, how can we endorse this to be able to grow bigger and be able to compete against the people that are down south? I mean, we don't have the number goal. Let me start over. This is going to be a long ass question. So yeah, being down south, those guys are drawing 180 people on a Tuesday night, and we can't even get 50. You know, it's a thing. But I mean, you guys as ambassadors to the sport, I mean, how can we grow this sport?
That's a good question. Because I've been trying to do that for the past 2 years, and I've been really good at it. So I don't know if I got the answer for that. Youth is one way, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you accomplish that. But
I think if you're doing it right, people find it eventually.
And that's the weirdest thing, especially up here. It seems like I just found out about another cornhole group, like the Coeur d'Alene Cornholers or something,
Really?
something like that. I mean, how do these guys not know about what
Yeah,
going on, about what 2-8's going on? I mean, it's really weird. But yeah, like I said, obviously everybody's overall goal here is to be able to grow the sport,
Yeah.
and I want to see 180 people on a Tuesday night. I think that shit would be cool, but
We need the space to do it too.
oh, no doubt. Yeah. So if
Finding
anybody's,
space is tough.
if anybody's watching right now that has large commercial real estate in Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls, let us know.
Yeah.
One question that's always pretty fun to ask is, how do you guys control your drinking, or what takes you to that level of where you need to be, especially in a tournament? I mean, yesterday was kind of, I know it was a small regional and stuff, and it was pretty fun, so you can kind of let loose a little bit. But I've seen Justin rush to the bar to take a shot. I mean, we'll start with Justin then. I mean, what level do you need to be on? Can you play sober, we'll say?
I can now. For a while, I couldn't. I'm definitely better with a good buzz. I found out recently that I can drink too much to where I start to play terrible. For a while I was like, oh, there's no limit, but I found out a couple weeks ago there is.
But what is it?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I don't know. I guess on Monday nights the beers just flow, and I don't know. I have this 2.25% beer. I'll drink a few beers and then I'll go to that just to maintain. I found that out on Tuesday. It worked out pretty well. So I don't know. Now I'm a little scared because I'm like I can reach the limit. It's pretty scary. At least all day events, you're drinking all day. I mean, so for a couple hour gap, I'll stop drinking, eat some food, drink some water, and then I'll get back on the train.
Well, for reference, Ryan Huffy said 1 beer an hour.
That's you're drinking close to 12 beers at that point. I mean,
yeah, no,
it's a close to 12-hour event. I don't know. I mean I don't drink that much. I don't think.
You say, but
I say that. Yeah.
No, I'm like I said in the last one, I'm borderline alcoholic, so easy.
I only really drink when I play cornhole. Because I'm just better than I do.
Yeah, no, I trust
it takes the mental game out for me. I'm relaxed and I throw instead of overthinking it.
Yeah. What about you, Steve? What do you got?
There's definitely a fine line there.
What's your fine line? Let me know.
Well, it's, 1 an hour. That's probably. I wouldn't say it's over the limit, but it's probably pretty close.
Yeah.
But that 1 an hour would be pushing it probably more like 1 every hour and a half. How's that?
That'll work.
So that's 9 beers versus 12 for the day. I would say that would be pretty good.
I can definitely tell when I've reached the point where I could pass a sobriety test. I start to throw a little bit worse.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell.
I haven't reached that point yet.
That's when I go to and I don't drink liquor and I just go get a shot.
Yeah, that just reminds me of Players and Spectators. If I just need a shot right now.
Oh yeah.
You've definitely burst upon the scene, especially in the Northwest, about being, as far as being one of the greater players. I mean, what's in the future for you as far as what do you want to achieve, and then what does it take to get there?
Steve and I are both trying to go pro. We're trying to qualify for the next season, get our pro status. To do that, we have to either qualify by points. I think it's top 32 in the nation. And then if we don't, we can go to South Carolina for the qualifier and get top 32. So ideally, I'd like to do it for the points. 5 points. I've got another baby on the way, so going to South Carolina a month after that or 2 months after that might not be a very good idea.
So is it just overall points, or is it, well, it's overall points towards you, so it doesn't matter if it's doubles or singles?
Yeah, you qualify
you want to try to
individually, but we both want to be able to do it as a team.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's overall points, singles, doubles, and then it's top 10 local finishes for singles and doubles. Well, it's 1,000 points total. So, and then 5 singles regionals and 5 doubles regionals, and then 2 conference. Or is it 1 conference?
2.
2, yeah. 2, and then you get your one open finish, your best open finish. So that's Jacksonville. We'll go to Jacksonville, try to get into level 1 where you get more points.
Right. And then, but even on the offhand that you guys don't do well, God forbid, but there's still San Diego, there's still all these other opens or.
I can't go to San Diego, but.
It's going to be an awesome one. But
I know, it's the due date of the baby. Literally that week. Yeah. But if we don't do well, we'll find somewhere else to go.
And then, so, yeah, Jessica said it, but as far as, like, is that what you're striving to be? You want to make that pro level? Because you're getting ready to retire, so.
Yes, as I tried last year to make the pro, I didn't quite make it, but come close. I did qualify on points, but they canceled that and did a tournament only end of the year. Went 4-4 on that, so needed to win one more game. So I'm right there on the fence. I'm getting closer.
I've never played any big names from the other side, so, as Steve has, but, so Jacksonville will be interesting.
Oh, I thought you were saying other side is
Like East Coast, no, East Coast.
Other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see how we match up.
No, that's gonna be the fun part, and like I said, I don't know how they're gonna do the live feeds and stuff like that. If 280s is you have somebody that's gonna
We'll
film
put cricket on it.
Yeah, yeah. Just being able to so everybody can watch what's kind of going on. I mean, that's gonna be the exciting part is trying.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm stoked for you guys, and like I said, we want to see you guys do well. Just looking back to, like I said, I think of that Sandpoint tournament almost a year ago where you and Mark were in the finals were competitive.
Yeah.
Now look at you. It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch. But yeah, so both you guys have your eyes set on going pro this next year. I mean, say that doesn't happen. I mean, this is just keep practicing, keep getting better. And,
Yeah, just learn from it, yeah.
But is that going to, and Steve, you're retiring, Justin, you're going to have another kid, so it's make it really hard. But I mean, how do you get better, especially playing the same competition over and over, especially here in North Idaho, is you keep seeing the same faces over and over. And I know that you've mentioned you want to travel once you retire, Justin, it's going to be a little bit harder. But I mean, where do you guys want to go?
Steve always finds these tournaments on Facebook and messages me. I'm like, I'll ask the wife and then yes or no. Steve always finds the tournaments. I don't know where he finds them.
I don't know. I'm just
I think I have to enter a password in the Facebook newsletter.
no. I'm just all the clubs. I'm find the clubs, and that's where they announce everything is Facebook. So if you want to find the tournaments, that's where you got to go.
Yeah.
I'll just let you keep doing that. You're good at it.
Like I said, we're all stoked for you. The one thing I definitely want to bring up, because it's so new and Justin has that in with Cornhole, is the somewhat merger between ACL and Cornhole. If you can kind of give us whatever you know about it, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so they call it a handshake agreement. Is the ACL is letting regional and below directors use Cornhole for all their tournaments. They still want conference and national to be on the ACL software. So it doesn't change a whole lot, but you can use Scoreholio bags now in ACL tournaments, so they're going to be approved. I think they already are. And then, what else? Oh, they can sponsor players now too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Ben will be able to sponsor players. It'll be nice. That's pretty much all for now. I'm hoping that they go further with it and they combine their software so Scoreholio can be the main to integrate points into ACL, because right now you have to manually put all the points in and it's a pain. It takes a long time. So you want the ease of running the tournament with Scoreholio, but then you have to enter all the points in the ACL. You have to do all the same work. So I don't know. It'd be nice if they're together fully.
No, without a doubt.
And I think it's a good first step towards it.
Sure. Yeah, no, we've all played with that ACL software, and it's not the best, but I've bashed against ACL because I play in your guys' tournaments. But
It'll be my first time in Jacksonville. I've never done it.
yeah, well, keep your phone on you.
Keep your phone on you.
For the people that are watching this that aren't in the state of Idaho or Washington, Justin is the director for 2-8 Cornhole, which if you haven't already, go ahead and like their page. But I mean, what's next for 2-8? I mean, what do you guys want to achieve, especially this hopefully post-corona thing that's going on.
Pretty much just keep growing the game. We're still trying to find a spot to play, and Shem's working on that. He's a great president of the 208 club, so he's actively trying to find a place to play, and he works really hard at it. So yeah, just growing the game. That's our main goal.
Yeah.
Same as Ursidae.
Hey, we're all in this together, but
Yeah.
it's the whole thing is, like I said, if you guys haven't liked 208, if you haven't liked Ursidae, go ahead and do it. Follow what we got going on. 208 has more tournaments than what we will have, and then ACL especially. So that's definitely a great thing to have. But Steve, I know I hit on it a little bit earlier, but you're getting ready to retire. What's your plans? What do you want to do? What's the retired life look like?
A lot of cornhole. A lot of cornhole. I want to travel. I'd like to go back to Kentucky, Ohio, stay for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Play in their league for a while and learn from the best.
Who's the
I
best?
go. Well, there's a lot of debate on where the best players are at, but they got a lot of good players in Kentucky, Ohio area. So,
Yeah, no doubt.
but there's a lot of good players in the South too. So, but I'd like to go to several different places. Last summer, I went to Boise for 2 weeks. Took my vacation, just went down there, stayed the week, played cornhole all week. Did other things too, but
Sure.
cornhole's at night, so things like that.
Well, it brings this is going to be a fun conversation. So both you guys are married, and both your guys' wives hopefully are supportive of what you guys do. I mean, how do you guys get away with playing as much as you do?
My wife is very supportive. Our kids are grown and raised, and so I don't have the obligations to,
Yeah.
Justin
Like
does.
Justin.
So I got a lot more free range for that. So, and she doesn't go to everywhere I play, but she goes to a lot of them. She came up this weekend, and she likes to go shopping, or she'll come watch me for a couple hours, and then she can work remotely too.
Yeah.
So that's what she did for.
Nice.
So she's doing right now, actually. So she's very supportive. She told me I can play as much as I want, so
Hell yeah.
I can't beat that.
What do you got, Justin? Trying to battle that fine line of new fatherhood and marriage and cornhole.
That's tough, chasing a dream when you're married and having 2 kids, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. If it's not a hard no, I'll take it as a yes. But if it's a hard no, I'll be like, all right, I can't go. So
Yeah.
I mean, I have to try to play. I mean, I have to pick and choose what I play in.
Sure.
Which is fine. I mean, family time is the best, so gotta love family time. Yeah, it works out.
Sweet. I think we're gonna wind down now. I don't know if you guys are both wearing jerseys. If you guys want to talk about your sponsors and what they're doing for you and how they're gonna help you move forward, now's a good time.
Yeah, we've got Bombastic Brewing. We've got our team. It's Steve and I, Shem and Phil. It's the 4 of us, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And then we got the filling station too, sponsoring us. We're working on some more for next season if we become pro, but we'll keep that a secret.
Nice. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming out and doing this. Fantastic. Yeah, appreciate it, because like I said, we had Ryan with the singles, you guys with the doubles, and that was pretty informative. Yeah, thank you for everybody that's watching. And just so everybody knows, the Boise guys were coming for you guys next. Travis and Pablo, you guys are up. So yeah, we'll see you guys here later in February. See ya.